Testing. Zoom recording right now. Okay. And we're right at 11 o'clock Eastern time. So wherever you are, Ernie, Philly, nice. That is beautiful. Awesome. I know you're glad that you've got James Harden now. Yes. All right. So welcome, everyone. This is The Shift. We're going to be talking about how technically skilled construction professionals become effective leaders. Chad from Mammoth Lakes. Mammoth, that is beautiful. Chad, you're probably in the most picturesque place on the call here today. That is great. So as we're kicking off, Jürgen Klopp. Raise your hand if you know who Jürgen Klopp is. Anyone, raise your hand. Do me a favor here. Let's get some participation. Raise your hand in the webinar box if you know who Jürgen Klopp is. All right. Okay. Boo. Oh, Ernie with the boo. Oh, come on now, Ernie. Oh, Spurs. Oh, I tell you, one of my very close friends, Ernie, is a Spurs fan, and he is perpetually disappointed. So Jürgen, he has a deep technical understanding of the game of soccer. He's a tremendous leader, and he's a great communicator, and he's a winner. He's a winner. That is for certain. And so I want to kick off with just a little bit of positivity here. This is how Jürgen celebrates wins. He goes to the fans and he gives them 3 fist pumps. A little while ago, they beat Leeds 4-0. Liverpool did, and he gave them 4 fist pumps. Yeah, you see that? So soccer is a grind. It's difficult. It's challenging. Yeah, but it's good to celebrate. And so my goal for you today, you're spending time with me, and my goal is for you to be able to go away with a few fist pumps and with some insights into how you can become a more effective leader. My name is Eric Anderton. I know many of you here on the call today. I'm very grateful that you've joined us. And for those of you who don't know me, my company is Construction Genius. And the whole focus of my business is to help construction companies pile up profits by teaching their executives how to lead teams, how to build strategy, and how to sell work. And this is what one of my clients says about The Shift: effective, hands-on, practical, simple, no BS. And that's what you're going to get from me during the webinar here today. Greg Hall, one of my clients, says one thing that stood out with Eric was his knowledge of construction and being familiar with terms specific to our field. Because Eric knows the terms and understands the ins and outs of a construction business, it was much easier for us to communicate and achieve the results we were looking for. Our time with Eric was of great value. I have no hesitation in recommending Eric Anderton to others. And so these are some of the people that I work with. It's my deep privilege to work with a variety of different construction companies all over the country. Some of them are very large, $1 billion plus, and all the way down to folks who are doing $20 million, subcontractors. And I've worked with contractors since 2004. And like I said, I love it that folks can go down the road and they can point to something and they can say, I built that. You guys have a tremendous positive impact upon your communities, upon the folks who work with you and for you, upon your clients. So you guys are doing a good thing as construction contractors. And as such, one of the biggest challenges you have is that most of you here on the line, I know that you are technically skilled. You understand how to build a construction project. And then when you step into leadership, new challenges arise. Your time starts slipping away. It feels like you need to build a team. You know that you need to do that, but it often feels like you're herding cats. And you need to be able to keep your team in the game, constantly hustling and motivated. And when you think of those 3 things together, it can get a little bit overwhelming. And that's where The Shift comes in. And today's agenda is very straightforward. First thing we're going to talk about is how technically skilled construction professionals become effective leaders. And as we do that, you're going to walk away today with 3 practical frameworks. The total duration of the time today is going to be no more than 90 minutes. Okay, no more than 90 minutes. So you'll be out of here by 12:30 Pacific time. And towards the end of the webinar, I'm going to be talking to you about the Shift course, the full 4-week course that you can participate in if you'd like to. And then at the end, I will be taking questions. Okay, so do me a favor. I just want to make sure everyone is with me. Type in yes if the agenda is clear and we're all on the same page so far. Type in yes into the chat box. Christopher, yes. Troy, yes. Everyone, yes. Okay, good. I'm making sense. Good. All right. I always want to check in. You want to make sure that you're on track with everyone, especially in these virtual meetings. Okay, so let me break down the 3 specific things we're going to be talking about. The first thing is you and your time. So we're going to talk about you and your time. The second one is your team. And then the last one is grab your ear. It's grab your ear. We're going to talk all about the ear framework of communication, which is a tremendously powerful way to communicate with your people. Okay, so I want you to rise above here. This is your oasis, and I want you to give yourself permission to relax for a little bit in terms of the day-to-day stuff that's going on, and take some time with me here. So let's focus on one screen, not 3 screens, one screen. Let's take notes and let's participate. Your time is tremendously valuable. I want you to get maximum ROI from this session. And so I'd like you to write down the one thing that you'd like to get out of this training session today. Just take a second here and write down, give it some thought. What is the one thing that you want to get out of this session here today? And if it's crystal clear in your mind and you'd like to, just chat it into the box for me. What's that one thing that you would like to get out of the session here today? Just take a moment. And if you want to chat it in, you're welcome to do that. Tom, better managing people. Nick, communicate with tact and diplomacy. That's great stuff. Rana, leadership. Dean, time management improvement. Dude, we've got that. That is awesome. Teams taking ownership. Thank you, Anita. That is beautiful. Training to lead my team better. Thank you, Ruby. Awesome. Awesome. Ivan, build people and teams. Good. Joe, strategic focus. Bill, communication with different personalities. Eric, efficient time management. Okay, good. Pete, calming influence when things are stressful. I tell you, I know in construction, things are stressful on a regular basis. And so it's good that you want to focus on that. All right, so let's kick it right off here. You and your time. For many of you, I know the alarm goes off at 4:30, maybe 5 o'clock. You get up early, you hit the ground running, and stuff just starts flying at you, okay? You've got project visits, you've got bids to get out, you've got customer issues to deal with, you've got employee issues to deal with, you've got change orders to collect, you've got all kinds of stuff going on. And your time is tremendously valuable. One of the keys, I tell you guys, this is one thing you need to do as a leader, and this is just a bonus, is calculate what your time is worth. Calculate what your time is worth and figure it out on an hour-by-hour basis. And as you go through your day, ask yourself, is this task that I'm currently working on, does that meet my hourly rate? Or am I spending time on tasks and items that people with a lower hourly rate should be taking care of? Now, let's talk about multitasking here for a moment. Type into the box for me, how does multitasking make you feel? Give me some feedback here. How does multitasking make you feel? When you're multitasking, how does that feel? Stressed? It sucks. Great. I love it. Yes. Okay. That's awesome. Ruby, you love it. Awesome. That is great. Effective. Okay. That's excellent. Awesome. Productive. Stressed. Yeah, this is very interesting. I had a feeling that we would get a variety of different feedback here. And so for some of you, you're going to like what I share next. Others of you, it's going to be a bit of a push against you. So I want you to take some time to consider it. Let me just give you some statistics about multitasking. When you switch from one task to another and then go back to your previous task, According to research, it takes you 15 minutes to get back and focused to that first task. Multitasking, it has been shown, leads to a 40% drop in productivity. And the interruptions that occur when we are multitasking, according to some research, has a cost on the economy in the United States of $650 billion. So I know some of you get a buzz out of multitasking. You're used to it. It's almost inevitable in construction. My encouragement for you today and my goal is to help to give you some frameworks that can help to reduce that multitasking. I think some of it's inevitable. We want to live in real world situations, but some of it can be avoided. Because what you have to do, and this is really where this multitasking aspect comes in, you have to balance working in the business. You have to balance dealing with the day-to-day challenges and how much time you spend on that with working on your business. Taking a step back a little bit. And let me tell you why this is so important. Using your time well has a massive impact on profitability. As a leader, one of your key roles is to develop your people. And in order to develop your people, you have to set aside time to spend time with them. And if you're able to manage your time well, it helps you with your own peace of mind. So it's tremendously important. So let me introduce you to Dwight Eisenhower. Dwight was a military commander and one of our presidents. And he is famous for developing what is called the Eisenhower Matrix, or the urgent or important matrix. Okay, so you've got on the top left here your long-term priorities. That's box one. And those things are not urgent, but they are important. You then have your critical activities. Those things are important and they are urgent. Then you have your interruptions. And I'm going to venture to guess that many of you, let me ask you just real quick here, raise your hand if you get inundated by interruptions every day. Okay, I've got tons. Oh, dude, tons of hands going up right now. Those interruptions occur. And then you've got down here on the bottom left, your distractions, those things that are not urgent and they are not important. Okay, so I'm going to dive into this a little bit. Let's talk about long-term priorities. Those things are activities that help you achieve your professional goals and complete important work. There are things like long-range planning, professional development, spending time with clients or your folks, really building relationships, working on a bid that's not due for a while. You know, you've got one of those big chunky bids that you've got to get out. You want to nail the number. And it's not due perhaps for a few weeks or a month, but you want to just step back, get out of the day-to-day and work on that bid. Perhaps long-term project planning, succession planning, could even be working with an executive coach. I was talking with one of my clients yesterday. I do executive coaching. And we were talking about how the meeting that we had for an hour, that wasn't a critical activity. If we didn't meet yesterday, the world wouldn't fall apart. But my client is committed to his long-term development. And as part of that, he engages with an executive coach. So you need to make sure that you have plenty of time to do these things properly so they don't become urgent. Okay. So I'd like you to just think back to the last week and chat into the box for me one thing that you did that was important, but not urgent. See if you can identify that. Something that was important, but not urgent. It's very important here that we just take time to think. Chat into the box one thing that you did. Very interesting, Robert. Pick out office furniture. Pete, training your PEs. Beautiful. Developing an incentive strategy for your team. That is really great. I like that. Business development. Yes. Review a subcontract. Thank you, Rana. Bill, signing contracts. Excellent. Micah, business plan. Very good. Justin, client visits. Beautiful. You think about that client visit, Justin. It's not like your relationship with the client would have fallen apart if you didn't do it this week. But taking that time to make those client visits is tremendous. Yeah, Robert, RFP prep response. Chris, develop a template schedule. Beautiful. Good stuff, guys. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Okay, now let's talk about the critical activities. And let's be real here. This is where you're going to spend the vast majority of your time. Okay. When you're starting out as a project manager, perhaps 90% of your time as you're fresh into leadership. As you progress in your career and get into executive roles, the time spent in the critical activities should be reducing, because you really want to be shifting yourself into the long-term priority box more and more. But we can't escape that box number 2, the important and the urgent. Okay, now there's 2 distinct types of urgent and important activities. There's the ones that you could not foresee, but then there's the others that you've left to the last minute. And you want to try and avoid those as much as possible by planning ahead and really being able to avoid procrastination. And then you've got to understand that issues in crisis, they come up all the time. They can't always be foreseen and avoided, and they do fall in your realm of responsibility. So you just got to embrace that. That's part of the gig. Okay. All right. Now, I want you to think about yourself. And I want you just to write down, just think about this. This is a critical question here. So just please listen. I want you to make a note of urgent and important activities that are yours and that you are most responsible for. Take a note of 3 urgent and important activities that take up much of your day. Please take a note of those, because you want to make sure that you embrace them. Okay? And think about how focused you are doing during your day on those activities. And then how often you get interrupted and distracted from working on those. So do me a favor. I just want to make sure we're all following along. Type into the box for me one of those critical activities that are both important and urgent and that fall in the realm of your responsibility. Type that into the box for me, please. Estimating, approving payroll, excellent. Change order, Ed, claims, good. Kim, contract review, staff-related issues, thank you. William, responding to RFPs, schedule changes, excellent. Vincent, estimating. Tom, answering PM's questions, very good. Project scheduling, okay, good. Erica, closing jobs. Yeah, let's get those jobs closed. Right on. Let's not let those things linger and let the profit fade. Okay, now, I'll tell you guys, let me just encourage you as you're thinking about this framework, and this is a very simple framework, but it's one that can so help you. You want to be committed to spending as much time as possible in box number 1 and box number 2. Now, let's get to box number 3, those interruptions. These are things that stop you from achieving your goals and prevent you from completing your work. These are things that other people should be doing, but you allow yourself to get sucked into doing it for them. And you have to ask yourself whether these tasks can be rescheduled or whether someone else can do them. And I tell you, there's a magic word that leaders have to get very good at saying to people. And this word may rub you the wrong way. This word is no. You've got to get used to saying no to people. You've got to get used to saying, solve it yourself. And this is one of the tremendous challenges I know that every single person on this call faces who's a leader, is they get interruptions all the time from people who are taking their time away, and you really need to be able to overcome that. So I want you to make a note. Just think about today. I want you to make a note of one of the interruptions that you've received. Okay. And think about that interruption. Think about who it came from. Think about why they're interrupting you. And then ask yourself, what can I do about that? Think about that for a moment. Why has this person interrupted me? What was the issue? And how can I limit that interruption in the next 30 days? How can I deal with that so it doesn't happen so often? Okay, so as you're thinking about that, type into the box for me real quick. What is one thing you can do to minimize your interruptions in the next 30 days. Yeah, Rana, I hire people to take work off my desk and not to put work on my desk. Yes, that is correct. Erica, I'm so glad that no is one of your favorite words. Jason, train people better. That is really great. That is really great. Your interruptions are indicating to you where you need to train people. Carson, turn off all notifications. Yes. Put your phone on silent. Yes. This is really good. Acknowledge the, yeah, I like this. Acknowledge the email request and then give them a reasonable turnaround time. Very good. Bill, fundamentally important. Communicate to your team when you are available. Justin, reduce micromanagement. Yep. Eric, train and teach. Chris, shut your door. Laura, stop bailing them out on non-urgent matters. Yes. Micah, I like that one. That's a nice touch. Have people batch questions. Yep. Very good. Pete, that's a classic here. 3 solutions and the recommendation of those 2, and then we can discuss. Yes. Yeah, the 3. Very good. Yeah, I get it, Pete. I get it. Good stuff. Okay. Very good. Your job is to keep working it so the interruptions go down, 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 so you can stay in box 1 and 2. Okay. Now let's talk about the distractions. Okay. Let's just all admit it. I got my phone right here. This is a tremendous distraction. So one of the most effective things you can do as you're trying to work on that bid or that plan, or you're trying to have that one-on-one conversation, I'm opening my drawer right next to my desk. I'm turning my phone off. I'm putting the phone in my drawer and I'm just getting it out of my sight so that I don't get distracted. Let me just say one thing about that real quick. Freddie, by the way, as far as interruptions, showing up at 6 a.m. when the office is quiet, that's beautiful. When it comes to distractions, one thing you can do is schedule your distractions. I know if I work for 60 or 90 minutes, I begin to lose my focus and I need to just kind of check out for a minute. So I'm okay getting out my phone, checking out my Twitter feed, looking at videos of Liverpool beating Arsenal yesterday or something like that. But my point is schedule your distractions. Now, let's talk about how you can really make this practical. And this is just simple blocking and tackling. What you want to do here is you want to track your time for a week. This is an example of a time log that I use with my coaching clients. And I have them log what they do in 15-minute increments for a week. Okay. And then you want to use the urgent important matrix and analyze where your time is going. And all you need to do is, after you've done the log, look back at it and put a 1, a 2, a 3, or a 4, right? If you remember the 1, 2, 3, and 4 right here, that's all you do. You make a note of what type of activity it was. And then you identify where your time is going. And this is the first thing you need to do if you want to get control of your time, by the way. Do me a favor here real quick. Raise your hand if you've ever done something like this before, where you've tracked your time for a period of time. Okay, Kim, yes. Anita, yes. Pete, yes. Ryan, Dean, Joe, excellent. Corey, yes. Beautiful. Okay. All right. Now, do me a favor. Type into the box, those of you who've tracked your time, type into the box, yes, if it helped you. Just type into the box, yes, if it helped you. Laura, yes. Lynn, yes. Ryan, yes. Anita, yes. Yeah, okay, good. Okay. Kim, no. Okay. All right, that's interesting, Kim. Okay. All right, now, as we're talking about this and we're talking about time management, this is how you might feel, right? A little bit of blah, blah, blah. I've heard this stuff before. It hasn't worked for me. I just accept that my life is crazy because I'm the leader of a construction company and it's always going to be like that. And I just want to introduce you to someone, and this is Daniel. Daniel is one of my coaching clients, and he is committed to getting a hold of his time. He's an up-and-coming project manager at Schultz Heavy Construction. And I just did this exercise with him where he analyzed his time. And think about this for a moment, friends. He identified in just one day 3 hours of interruptions in just one day. And so I'm no math wizard, but we did a bit of calculation, and that equals about 660 hours a year of interruptions. Now, that is a tremendous amount of time spent getting interrupted. And so we set a goal. What if we could reduce this by, let's just say 5% or 10%? We're not looking for magic pills because there's no magic pills in life, right? Interruptions occur. But what if we can just reduce them slightly? And so he focused on how he could reduce them. And this is what he wanted to, what he came up with. Number one is personal pre-planning. This is how he was going to get hold of his time. Get a notebook, do some prioritization right at the start of his day, and then block out time. And I'm just going to say this. If there's one thing that you can do to get control of your time right now, it is to block out time for things that are important to you. And so he committed to blocking out 1 hour a day, 8:30 to 9:30, to deal with existing critical issues. So he's come into the office, he's met with his guys, he's talked to the super and to the foreman, he's gone onto the job site, he's got a trailer on a major job site right now. He's done all of that by 8:30, and now it's time for him to block out time and to deal with critical issues. And then he's got another time block that he's committed to between 4 and 5 o'clock to deal with issues that come up during the day. And these are issues that don't block the work progress, right? So you have issues come up during the day that if you're a project manager, they're blocking your progress and you've got to deal with them right then. But there's other types of issues that they do need to be dealt with, but perhaps not right away. So he's going to put those into that other time block from 4 to 5. And this is what he's going to get used to here. No way, Jose. He's going to start saying no to people. So this is a practical way that Daniel is getting hold of his time. Now, do me a favor and just raise your hand if you can see the logic of this and if this makes sense, if this is something that you think that you could do. Okay, great. Matthew, Vincent, Andrew, Justin, Dean, I appreciate that. Excellent. Okay, Rana, kind of. Yeah. It's a challenge. And again, these aren't all magic pills. But I believe that you can get much more disciplined in the way that you spend your time. Bill, you're already doing it. That's great. I am too. So I practice what I preach. Okay. So let me tell you about my Mondays. I love my Mondays. My Mondays are a time where I spend time like putting together this PowerPoint that I've done here for you guys. This took, hours to put together, but I love doing it, because it helps me to work on my game. I work on developing my frameworks that I use with my clients. It is my time for creativity, and I block out time every Monday to do that. I don't take client meetings on a Monday. If someone says, would you like to meet on a Monday? I say, no way, Jose. My client meetings are Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then on Friday, I record my podcast. Okay. So that's how I schedule my week. Now I understand my job is much different than yours. And whether or not you can block out an entire day with no interaction with people, it may not be practical for you. But I strongly believe that you can block out time if you make the commitment to it. And if you get a control of where those interruptions are coming from, and begin to work with your people so that they spend less time interrupting you. Okay. So again, why is this so important? Controlling your time affects your profitability, your ability to develop others, and your sanity. I am into you keeping your sanity. Okay. So do me a favor. Just chat into the box one thing that you learned or noticed or will do differently from what we've just talked about in this first framework. Just type in one thing, please. Chad, say no. That's awesome. I appreciate that. That's a really good thing. Block out time. Very good. Time blocking and logging. Say no more. Block out time. Okay, guys, listen. Block out time. I'm just going to, I tell you, if you sat down with me, this is the thing. And we've spent, 10 or 15 minutes here. And, during the shift course, we're going to go into much more detail on time management. But if you asked me, Eric, what's one thing I can do to manage my time more effectively? I would tell you time blocking. That would be the one thing. So that's tremendous. That's tremendous. Vincent, yeah, let the distractions know the reason you hired them. I like it. Right on. Okay, so we talked about your time. Now Let's talk about your team. All right. So I want you to be like Jürgen. You've got to have that technical understanding. You got to have that leadership ability, and you got to be a great communicator. Okay. That's what a winner is. And that's what we're working on here today. So let's talk about high performance here real quick. You want to build a high performance team. And to build a high performance team, it's got to be made up of high performing individuals. And so in this section of the webinar today, we're going to be talking about how to help individuals improve their performance so they can make a stronger contribution to the team. And this is a great definition of high performance. Concentrating on the few tasks that, if done with excellence, will really make a difference in the results of your job and in the performance of the company. Okay, now, look at this definition. Type into the box for me one word that really sticks out to you here. What's one word that sticks out? Type that into the box for me, please. What's one word? Bill, concentrating. Daniel, few, concentrating. Few. Chad, results. Ryan, concentrating. William, performance. Excellent. Okay. In my mind, I'll just say this. I think the key is concentration. Concentration is the key. And I'd like to tell you the story about a young woman named Mary. When Mary was 13 years old, she decided to break the world record in the 200-meter butterfly. She decided to break the world record in the 200-meter butterfly. And what's really interesting is when she made that decision, she didn't start training more. She didn't make a quantitative change in her training regime, but she did make two qualitative changes. And this is interesting because I'm assuming if you're on the call here, you have no problem with quantity. In other words, I know that you know how to work hard. Otherwise, you wouldn't be in a leadership role in a construction company. But it's not so much the quantity that we're concerned with in high performance, it's the quality. And so what a qualitative change is, it means modifying what is actually being done, not simply doing more of it. So let's talk about two qualitative changes that Mary made. And the first one is kind of interesting. She committed to showing up on time. Now, I got a bunch of teenagers in my house, and I know how much they like to sleep. And I know that swimmers start their practices very early in the morning, generally speaking. And showing up on time to practice is a tremendous commitment. And as a 13-year-old, she committed to showing up on time. And then the next thing she did, and this is very interesting, and I'm not an expert when it comes to swimming, but she made one change in her technique. At the end of each lap, she committed to touching at the end of the pool with two hands when she was making her turn instead of just one hand. And apparently, if you do a two-hand touch instead of a one-hand touch, it speeds you up. Okay? So now let's talk about you. What part of the business are you responsible for? In a construction business, you've got to bid work, plan work, build work, and then get paid or bill work. You may be responsible for all of it, but I'd like you to think about yourself here for a moment, and I'm going to walk you through a high-performance framework. And I'm going to walk you through it, and I want you to think about yourself because I'd like you to take this framework and then teach it to other people. The good news is, because it's from me, it's very simple. I'm not a rocket scientist, and you'll be able to take this and use it right away. So first thing I want you to think about, what are the top 3 outcomes that you're expected to achieve in your position? What are the top 3 outcomes? So if you're a project manager, it could be profitability. If you're a superintendent, it could be production. If you're an estimator, it could be your hit rate or the landing of work, that outcome. What are the top 3 outcomes you're expected to achieve in your position? Think about that for a moment. Okay. And do me a favor, raise your hand if you've thought about that and you've got a sort of in your mind or you've written it down, your outcomes that you're responsible for. Okay, excellent. Excellent. Okay. Erica, I like that one. That's a beautiful one, Erica. Keep aging under 60 to 90 days. It's beautiful. William, win work. Rana, quality, gross gains, training. That's beautiful. Bill, bring in work. You guys are awesome. Dean, high quality bids, kill rate, repeat. Yep, very good. Eric, success, very good. All right, dude, you guys are awesome. Okay, now, some of you already done this, but if you haven't, pick your most important outcome. Please pick your most important outcome. Remember, I want you to get tremendous value from this session. If you follow along with me here now and do this exercise, you will get the value that you're looking for. Okay, so pick your most important outcome. Now, let me talk about the power of task goals. Task goals confine your thoughts. They direct your focus. They leave no room for distractions that interfere with top performance. This is key here. Task goals help you assert as much control over the situation as possible. And if the controls are the right ones, you are much more likely to reach your broader goals. So begin to think about your tasks that lead to your most important outcome. Let me give you an example. My kids play baseball. I got 4 of my kids playing baseball right now. None of them are going to the major leagues, but we want them to perform well. They want to perform well. They're all competitive. And so our goal is that they would play hard and have fun. That's the outcome. Play hard, have fun, and this is how they're going to do it. The tasks, number 1, throw hard strikes. Number 2, see the ball, hit the ball. Number 3, run hard and smart. Number 4, field the ball clean. And then number 5, it's a little more subjective, but be courageous and compete. Those are the tasks that we encourage them to focus on in order to achieve the outcome of playing hard and having fun. So what I'd like you to do is to pick the top 3 actions or tasks that lead to your most important outcome. So you should have your most important outcome. So Ernie, if your most important outcome is diversify your work, then pick your top 3 tasks that lead to that most important outcome. Again, Bill, for you, Bill Peach, bring in work. Think about your top 3 tasks that lead to that outcome. Erica, for keeping aging under 60 to 90 days, think of your top 3 tasks that lead to that outcome. Okay, do me a favor real quick. Just raise your hand if you've got those tasks either in mind or on a piece of paper. Give me a hand raise here. Excellent. Rana, thank you. Jason, good. Laura, well done. Ed, Robert, Dave, awesome. Good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff. Now, you guys know where I'm going here. Now, pick your most important task. Your most important task that leads to your most important outcome. Okay, I want you to write that down. If you haven't already, write down your most important task that leads to your most important outcome. Okay, now, the next step is this. And if you're coaching someone through it, this is what you do. You ask them this question: in what specific ways can I improve my performance of my most important task that leads to my most important outcome? Now, as you look at that question, I want you to type into the box for me the most important word in that question. Type that into the box for me. What is the most important word in that question? Jason, I. Tony, ways. Interesting. Bill, improve. Pete, specific. Ernie, specific. Ruby, specific. Dean, specific. Robert, specific. Freddie, improve. Okay, let me just say this. For the purpose of this exercise, the most important word is specific. And let me tell you why. The more specific someone is in the ideas that they come up with, the more actionable they can be. And the way to improve performance is to identify specific actions that I can take to get better at executing my most important task that leads to my most important outcome. So please, if I was coaching you through it, I'd give you 2 minutes right now, but I just want to respect everyone's time. I just want you to write down one way that you can improve your performance of your most important task that leads to your most important outcome. And then what I'd please like you to do is to chat that one way into the box for me, please. Let's get some feedback here. Let's get a little bit of feedback from folks. Chat that one way into the box that you are going to improve your performance of your most important task that leads to your most important outcome. Bill, this is beautiful. Block time for that task each week. I tell you, man, combine. This is cool. See, you can combine the time aspect with this high performance aspect. Vincent, not to multitask. I like that. Very good. William, set aside monthly get-togethers with direct reports. If you're not doing at least monthly get-togethers with your direct reports, you are not doing your job as a leader. Just got to tell you the truth that. I got to tell you the truth. Chad, set expectations. Rana, time management, very good. Excellent. Jason, stop micromanaging. Laura, set a deadline for daily record keeping. That's great. This is beautiful, guys. Justin, refine and codify processes to ensure repeatability and opportunity for delegation. That's a big chunky one there, Justin, but it's excellent. You're going to have to dive into that one. But it's really good that you've identified that. Give yourself permission to make incremental progress on that, Justin. I would set myself 90 days, maybe 6 months to really refine and codify those processes. That's beautiful. I love it. Okay, good stuff, guys. Now, let's just keep in mind the high performance definition. It's concentrating on a few tasks that, if done with excellence, will really make a difference in the results of your job and in the performance of your company. And this is how you build a high performing team, is by having these conversations. And so what you want to do is you want to sit down one-on-one with each member of your team. And I encourage you to do this in the next 30 days. You don't have to do it all in 1 week. But if you've got 6 to 8 people reporting to you, and you should have no more than 6 to 8 people reporting to you. If you have more than 6 to 8, you need to do something about that. I'm talking about direct reports. Ideally, it would be 6. And what I would do is sit down with each one of them and get them to walk you through their most important outcome, their most important task, and in what specific ways they can improve their performance of that task. Do me a favor. Raise your hand if an application like this makes sense to you. Raise your hand if this is something you think you can do just sitting down with one of your folks. Kim, Daniel, good. Jason, good. Dean, excellent. Beautiful. Pablo, thank you. That's great. Carl, yes. William, I got an applause from William. That's good. I like that. Chris, that's beautiful. Okay, good. Good stuff, guys. I really appreciate it. Now, let's go back to Mary. This is a direct quote from Mary. People don't know how ordinary success is. And again, Mary was a world-class athlete, but at the same time, she understood that improving herself, improving the ability that she had, was fairly ordinary. And so she made those two changes. In 1979, at age 14, she crushed the world record in that 200-meter butterfly. In the 1984 Olympics, she competed, and she won 3 gold medals. This is Mary Megger. Look it up on Wikipedia. So she won 3 gold medals. It's tremendous, just awesome. And so she really gives us some insight into high performance. Okay, so we're 2/3 of the way through here, guys. And because you've got come so far with me thus far, I'm going to give you a free bonus. This is the bonus. When it comes to developing high-performing teams, you've got to be able to attract and identify talented young people. And so I have a free report. It's called 7 Qualities of Highly Successful Emerging Leaders. And I want to send you that free report if you would like to get it. So do me a favor. Type yes into the chat box if you want me to send you that free report, and I will do that after the webinar today. I'll get it to you, I promise, by end of business tomorrow. I've got a lot of work after this. Okay, good. Freddie, excellent. Vincent, good. Pablo, thank you. Awesome. Dave, Jasper, excellent. Aaron, okay, beautiful. All right, thank you. I am committed to sending that out to you guys. So if you've typed yes into the box, that will be recorded in the chat. I have your email, and then I'll be able to send it out to you. Okay, so beautiful. Excellent. Thank you, guys. Let's keep going here. We've talked about your time. We've talked about your team. And now we're going to talk about your ear. All right. I love this. Let's talk about the ear framework. The EAR framework is all about this. It's all about hustle and motivation. This is how you're going to motivate your team consistently to hustle. Construction is a grind. One of my coaching clients says this: construction, it sucks, but it's fun. And that is so true. It sucks, but it's fun. So the EAR framework is all about team communication. And you as a leader, you have to become an expert at communication. And there's 3 messages that you need to communicate. The first message is you can do it. The second message is did you do it? And the third message is you did it. You can do it. Did you do it? You did it. And you might be asking, what does that have to do with my EAR? And so I'm going to tell you. You can do it. E, that's encouragement. Did you do it? A, that's accountability. And you did it. That's R, recognition. That's how you spell EAR, E-A-R. So as long as you've got an EAR on your head, you'll always be able to remember the 3 messages that you need to communicate to your team every single day. And that is encouragement, accountability, and recognition. Now, I know this is slightly cheesy. I always get just a little bit embarrassed when I share this, but just raise your hand if you can grab your EAR and remember just these 3 simple messages: encouragement, accountability, and recognition. Just raise your hand if you get this here. Daniel, thank you. Mitchell, great. Rick, Pablo, Felipe, this is great. Okay, beautiful. Thank you, guys. I always get a little embarrassed, like I said, when I share this, because it is a little cheesy, but it came to me one day and I got all excited. So I want to make sure that I share it with you. Now, I want you to think about your org chart. You may have one that you can sketch out real fast. You may have one that's just in your mind, but that's your team. So if you want to do this right now, you can do it as part of the exercise. You are going to get the recording of this webinar, so you can go back and do this at some point, but you want to get a blank piece of paper. You want to fill out your org chart. Think about where you sit and ask yourself, who needs encouragement? Who needs accountability? Who needs recognition? Okay. So chat into the box for me. How do you encourage people? How do you encourage people? Chat that in real quick. I'm going to get a quick glass of water here, a little drink. We're doing really great on time. How do you encourage people? Andrew, have faith in them. That's great. William, thank them for doing a great job. Pete, listen. That's interesting. Dean, daily talk to each member of my team, weekly email. That's a nice touch. Dean, your emails are excellent, the ones that you send out. Bill, coach, yep, one-on-one. Tell them where they're succeeding. Thank you for the hard work. Rana, communicate. Excellent. Okay, good. All right, because again, remember, the message of encouragement is this: you can do it. So the first step, and this is really going to be important for you, because I know many of you here on the line, you guys are ballers. You guys have built awesome careers in construction. You know your business. You know how to build projects. And to really make that shift into building teams of people, you first have to start with one of the keys, and that is delegation. Okay, so if you're going to say to someone, you can do it, you have to delegate that thing to them. So why don't we delegate? Chat into the box for me. Why don't we delegate? Give me some feedback here, guys. Ernie, perfectionist. Yes, indeed. Control freaks. Yes, Pete. Control. Justin, it takes time. Yes, it does. Trust, lack of trust. John, yes, you can do it better yourself. That is the curse of leaders. You know you can do it better than other people. Many things that you have to delegate. Yes. Yes, Tom, it does take time to explain. Rick, that's interesting. Trying not to overload. I'm going to talk to that here in a second. That's awesome. All right. Now, some of you already mentioned this, but I know working with my clients, the reason they don't delegate, some of them, they like to be the hero. They like that buzz when people interrupt them and they have an issue and they fly in and they save the day. Or like some of you already said, they're perfectionists and no one can do it as well as you can. But let me ask you this. If they were able to do it 80 to 90% to the level of you, would that be good enough? Just think about that for a moment. Do me a favor. Raise your hand if you are convinced that if your direct reports can do a task at a level of 80 to 90% of what you can do it at, that would be good enough. Okay, I've got hands shooting up here. Rick, Rana, Eric, Andrew. Yeah, okay. Excellent. All right. So you guys know that if you can get someone to just 80 to 90% of your ability, then that should be sufficient. Okay. And then we don't trust people. We don't trust people. We've been burned in the past. Let me just say this. If you train well and communicate well, then your levels of trust with people will go up. Their levels of competency will go up. Their ability to execute the tasks will go up. Your ability to look at them and say genuinely, you can do it, that will increase as well. And so, but I do want to make a point here. There's a difference between delegation and abdication. So let's talk about delegation here. If you're going to delegate effectively, you must, number one, be clear on what it is that you're delegating. And I know this is a curse for many of us, is that we are perfectly clear in our minds about what needs to be done. And because we have done it for so long, there's many things that we actually do to accomplish something that we're not even conscious of. We do it subconsciously. And that's why we do it at such a high level. And that's why someone earlier talked about needing to clarify processes. And this is key, by the way, in terms of delegation. You must have good processes in place if you're going to clearly delegate to other folks. So first, you must be asking yourself, am I clear? Second thing you have to ask yourself, and this is key, are they capable? Are they capable? I like to cook, and I have a 15-inch cast iron skillet. It is very heavy. And my youngest son is 7 years old, and he's a little short for washing dishes, and he's not really that strong. And I might ask him to wash a coffee mug or some plates or a small pan, but I would never ask him to wash my 15-inch skillet. Not yet. He's just not strong enough to kind of manipulate it around. So are they capable? And then the last thing you want to ask is capacity. Capacity. Do they have the capacity? In other words, what we do many times is we delegate a lot of stuff to our A players, and those A players, they get overwhelmed and they don't have the capacity to take on any more, but they're still saying, yes, 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 I'll do it. And then you see their performance dive. So if you're going to delegate effectively, that you must be clear, they must be capable, they must have capacity. Look at those three things and just chat into the box for me. One thing that you need to focus on of those three, if someone is going to, if you're going to be better at this delegation piece. Robert, capable. That goes to training, Robert. Clarity. Thank you, Andrew. Daniel, capable. He's very good. So if you're frustrated by their lack of capability, then that's where you have to train, or you may be giving the task to the wrong person. So my 7-year-old's the wrong person to wash this, the 15-inch skillet, but my 12-year-old, he can do it just fine. Get his butt in the kitchen and get him washing the skillet, right? Clarity. Yeah, Luciano, clarity. Eric, clarity. Yep. Malika, clarity, that's key. Okay, good stuff, guys. So now what you want to do is look at your org chart. Think about it. Write down the name of one person that you think needs encouragement. You can do it. Now raise your hand if you have one person that you can sit down and encourage in the next 2 or 3 days here. Excellent. Okay, good. Good. Rana, excellent. Daniel, good. Joe, Troy, beautiful. Dean, thank you. All right, good stuff. Good stuff. All right, now, so you can do it. Now let's get on to accountability. This is one of the keys here, guys, to successful leadership. Let's hit it. Accountability, holding people responsible for their actions and outcomes appropriate to their authority and within the realm of their responsibility. Okay. Now, type into the box for me. What's your biggest challenge with accountability? Type that in. What's your biggest challenge with accountability? Kim, tracking. Interesting. Deadlines. Daniel, follow through. Dean, negative response. Yeah, I know how you feel. Chad, yep. People taking offense. Chris, excuses. Yes. Yes. You look to delegate and they're like delegating right back at you. Andrew, follow up. Yeah, it's good stuff. Justin, resistance. Yes. Ernie, metrics to even hold someone accountable. Yeah, that's good stuff, Ernie. Matthew, tracking. Okay, excellent. All right, now, I really appreciate that. Let me just give you a simple framework for accountability, an accountable conversation. And by the way, if you've delegated something to someone, you need to follow up and hold them accountable. Accountability conversations don't have to be tremendously burdensome or difficult. And you can remove some of the emotion out of it if you just stay focused on these 3 questions. And let me give you the questions. First question, it's rather obvious. Did you do it? Did you do it? Second question, if not, why not? Okay, and the way you ask that question is important. You're not asking it necessarily to nail them, but you want to discover, why didn't you do it? Maybe it was because I wasn't clear, or you weren't capable, or you didn't have the capacity. Why didn't you do it? Okay, and then the last one is, how can I help? Did you do it? If not, why not? How can I help? Now, as you're getting into these accountability conversations, conflict comes up. And in the Shift course, I'm going to be teaching you specifically how to deal with difficult, challenging conversations. There's 7 principles that I teach in that course that you'll find very helpful. Today, I'm going to share with you 3 of those principles. The first one is, when you're having this accountable conversation, you must give your full attention. You must be willing to look the person in the eye. You must be willing to put aside your phone, come out from behind your screens, and give that person your full attention. The second thing, take responsibility for your emotional weight, the emotional impact you have on people. There are people who take the heart out of you, and there are people who put it back. Now, this doesn't mean that you're just going to be, some sort of softy with people. But you've got to understand, in a leadership role, it's very easy to overwhelm people or be intimidating. And you want to make sure that you are responsible for your emotional weight. Okay? The emotional impact. And here's a practical way to do that. Let people know, as you're having these accountable conversations, as you're communicating with them, this is where we're going. This is why we're going there. This is who's going with us. This is how we're going to get there. You've got to take responsibility for your emotional weight. And then this is killer. I call this the $1 million idea. If you just take this one idea, one of my leaders who went through a training program with me, he took this one idea and saved himself 15 grand right away by asking just this one question. And if you take that 15 grand and extrapolate it across his career, that's $1 million idea. What was happening is, he was on the phone to the GC. He's a sub and he's a PM. He said, "Hey, GC, are you ready for me?" And the GC said, "Oh yeah, we're ready for you." But he knew this GC, that he didn't have his act together. And so he said, "Hey, GC, are you really ready for us?" He asked just one more question. And the guy said, "No, we're not ready." And so he didn't have to send his crew out to the job site. And that saved his company 15 grand. So if you want to be good at these difficult conversations, ask just one more question. Okay, those are those 3 things. Give full attention, be responsible for your emotional weight, ask just one more question. Pick one of those and just type in the number 1, 2, or 3 into the chat box. Which one do you think you can use right away to get better at having those difficult conversations? 1, 2, or 3. Okay, Rana 1, Robert 3. Excellent. Corey 2, Kim 2. Excellent. Okay, good. Excellent. Good stuff, guys. All right, now think about this. Who needs accountability? Who is the one person that you need to have an accountable conversation with in the next 3 or 4 days? Okay, raise your hand if you've got one person that you can have that accountable conversation with. Okay, beautiful. Vincent, excellent. Robert, good. Andrew, Troy, Erica, Rick. Okay, good stuff, guys. Jasper. All right, excellent, excellent, excellent. Okay, so did you do it? Excuse me, you can do it. Did you do it? Encouragement, accountability. Now let's talk about recognition. Think back to a time when you were recognized. How did that make you feel? I'll tell you one of the times that I got recognized. I was working for an entrepreneurial company back in the early 2000s. I was employee number 3. We were running and gunning. I used to sell copy machines. So I've made tens of thousands of cold calls in my life, and had a lot of fun doing that. Glad I don't do it anymore, but had fun doing it. So I got the award for the marketer of the year one year. And I tell you, it was at the end of the year dinner, and I got the award for the marketer of the year. The only problem is that I was the only person in the marketing department. So how do you think that made me feel? Now, I didn't feel so bad because I liked the guys I was working with, but I use that as an illustration because if you're going to use recognition effectively, then you need to be specific about the recognition to the person in the time and space they're in the job and in their career and in your company, and you need to be consistent. Now, you need to take into account the type of people who you're recognizing, because some people, they like public recognition, and other people, they like private recognition. So you must be specific, you must be consistent, and you must be personal to that person. Okay. Now, Pete, thank you. Think about your org chart right here. This is really, really important here. I tell you this, I have a feeling that you guys have really good intentions, but you don't do enough recognition. Specific, consistent, and personal. So let me ask you this. Raise your hand if you have at least one person that you can do a little bit of recognition with in the next 2 or 3 days. Okay. Rick, Anita, Dave, excellent. It could be a personal conversation. One of the most powerful ways to recognize people, by the way, is just like writing a note, a handwritten note, a thank you card, maybe with a $20 Starbucks card or something like that. But don't just give them the Starbucks card. Give them the handwritten note. Now, I know that we do way more than that in terms of recognition with people. We give them great bonuses and stuff like that. But think about how you can recognize someone and who needs recognition. All right. So as you think about your org chart, this is really important. Grab your ear again. Encouragement, accountability, recognition. You should have at least one person identified for each one of those messages. And your job as a leader is to keep that at the front of your mind, that your job is to motivate your team by using the EAR framework: encouragement, accountability, and recognition. And now I know you guys have been with me here for the past 60 minutes. We're at 12:02, and you might be thinking about the EAR framework. Yeah, it kind of, it's a bunch of warm, fuzzy stuff, right? Encouragement, accountability, recognition. Let's just get out there and kick some ass and build some work. But let me just encourage you. The truth hurts here a little bit. If you're going to maximize your effectiveness as a leader, yes, you do need to hold your people accountable, and you do need to be a strong leader and not take people's baloney, but you do need to encourage them, and you do need to recognize them as well. And so you don't want to stick your head in the sand in terms of your leadership. You don't want to be saying, suck it up, but you need to say this. You need to understand this, and that is that we're all in this together, and you have a duty as a leader to provide your folks with encouragement, accountability, and recognition. Okay, now, so we've talked about you and your time, and we talked about the urgent and important matrix, okay? And we talked about how that's important because it affects your profitability, your ability to develop people, and your sanity. We've talked about your team, and we talked about getting together one-on-one with someone and going through the outcome, the task, and in what specific ways can you improve your performance of the task. And we talked about the EAR framework and providing people with encouragement, accountability, and recognition. Now, do me a favor. Of those 3 frameworks, team, time, and EAR, type into the box for me which one you're going to use, which one had the most impact for you: time, team, or EAR. Just type in time, team, or EAR. Tony, team. Okay, we got some EARs, we've got some times, we've got some teams. Excellent. Okay, good. Excellent. All right, so you want to take what's most effective for you. Now, we're reaching the end of our time here together. And there's just one issue here. You've got those 3 great concepts. We've done it in an hour. It's 12:04 right now, but perhaps you'd like to take a deeper dive into these concepts. And it'd be awesome for you to spend some time focused with other construction professionals, improving your leadership skills, learning more about making that shift from building projects to building teams, going from just working on in the business to working on yourself and developing yourself. And if you're hungry for more, that's where the Shift project leadership course comes in. Okay, so let me give you the outline of the course. It's a 4-week course, and we meet online, and it's only for construction companies. So there's no insurance folks there, no bonding people there, no randos who don't know anything about construction. Construction's unique. It has challenges that only insiders and experts understand. Generic leadership training is not good enough. You need a course crafted exclusively for construction pros and taught by an industry expert. And so if you join the course, you're going to learn more about understanding yourself, the way you think and the way you behave, what you like to do. It shapes you and the way that you lead. Lots of people don't understand themselves to the extent that perhaps they could. And one of the first things you're going to do, even before you go to the course, is take an assessment, the Profile XT assessment that I use with all of my clients, that will give you tremendous insight into how you think, how you behave, what you like to do, and that's going to help you to be a better leader. We're going to focus on building better teams and delivering profitable projects. The strength of your team is directly related to the profitability of your business. We're going to be talking about how to have tough conversations without ruining relationships. You're going to learn a tremendously powerful process to bring your team to agreement on how to solve problems. And I tell you, that's an awesome process. And you're going to learn how to eliminate a little bit of chaos in your life. We've worked on that a little bit here today. We're going to be diving into it even more, stopping those interruptions. And the good news is this. I know many of you here on the call, I know that you're tremendously effective at what you do. And the good news about being a leader is that if you don't have charisma, that's okay. Charisma is not required to be an effective leader. You just need to be able to communicate consistently and clearly. And during the course, we're going to take a deeper dive into that EAR framework, the encouragement, accountability, and recognition. So let me just break it down for you a little bit further. Week 1 is understanding yourself and managing your time. And that's where we'll do the Profile XT assessment. And we'll go into a deeper dive into how you can be more effective using your time, how to ditch time management and focus on mastery, how to say no, and that will help you to stop the chaos. One simple way to cut interruptions by 80%, how to move from firefighting to fire prevention by scheduling your week in advance. And at the end of that first session, you're going to be working on the construction leader's dashboard to clarify your vision, your mission, your values, to get you really focused as a leader. Week 2 is going to be building and leading a high-performing team. And so we're going to be talking about how you need to be a talent scout, how to adopt the always looking attitude to find good people, and the never settle attitude to developing your team, how to build your bench, how to find diamonds in the rough. And I'll teach you how to use the 90-day high performance dashboard to coach and mentor your people. It's really, really effective. Week 3, it'll be the EAR framework in way more detail, really looking in to being a mentor with your people, using your org chart as a leadership tool to make sure that you're getting the most out of the folks in your organization. And then week 4, we're going to be talking about leading your team to agreement on how to solve your toughest challenge. I will teach you a process that I've used with my clients since 2004 to help you to run effective meetings. We're going to help you to identify the issues that really challenge you in your business. And then we'll use a simple model to pinpoint those issues, figure out if those issues are driving down revenue or driving up costs, and then look at your metrics and conversations to get a better understanding of how to solve the problem. Okay. So again, the shift is online, and you may be sick of online courses, but I've structured it specifically to make it effective. This is Francisco of SR Freeman. He really enjoyed the online course, and I'm an expert at running online courses. I do it all the time. And I promise you that you will get a return on investment. You will be engaged. You will be able to use the information that I send your way and that you learn. So it's much more economical than most leadership courses, the shift is. Okay. Most courses like this, you're going to be charged maybe $4,000 per person plus. And those people may not even have experience working with construction experts. I'm an expert in terms of construction. I'm all about simple, effective, hands-on, practical stuff. It's good use of your time. You don't have to go away for a week. You can get in, get 2 hours of training every week, get back to working on your projects. So you won't get blown up with a whole bunch of emails and stuff like that. I'm not going to overwhelm you with information. I am not a dusty binder guy. I promise you, no dusty binders that you're going to stick on your shelf and never use again. In 4 weeks, you're going to go away with practical tools and frameworks that you can use right away. I will not overwhelm you. And you're going to find the environment of our learning really, really fun. And again, it's all about construction, right? Each session is crafted to meet the challenges that construction leaders experience every day. And because you'll be interacting with other construction professionals in the breakout rooms, you'll get to know people. You'll understand that many of the challenges you face, other people face too. They've overcome them, and you can learn yourself how to overcome them as well. All right. So the first session is Tuesday, April 5th from 8 to 10 Pacific time. And then we're going to go April 5th, April 12th, April 19th, April 26th. So the month of April dedicated to training. If you want to learn more about the course, go to constructiongenius.com, the shift sign up. Okay. And I have 2 pricing options. There's the regular option at $2,300 a person. And there is the premium option at $2,400 a person. Okay. So let me just type into the box for you the URL there. Let me get it here. Hold on a second. I want to make sure I get the URL. And it is constructiongenius.com/shift sign up. So I just typed that into the box. You can go out to the site, the page. I want you to take the time to read that page, guys. Because it has all the details. It has testimonials from people who've gone through the course. Take your time to read that page. Okay. There's no rush here. Okay. I'm only going to take 33 people today into that course. Okay. So there's limited seating. I want you to get the most out of it. So we will not have 105 people in one course. You're going to get to know people over the 4 weeks. You'll be in small breakout rooms of 3 to 5 people, getting to know people, chatting about the issues that you face, learning and applying information. Okay. So that's really, really important. Now, I want to tell you about the guarantee. I'm going to give you a 100% guarantee for the money and the time that you spend with me. And let me tell you how that works. My expectation is you'll get 5 to 10 times of a return on investment from spending time with me. So if you think about the $2,400 to sign up for the premium option, if you multiply that by 10, that's $24,000. If you think about the time that you're going to spend with me, let's say at $500 an hour, that's $4,000. So your total investment, your total expectation of return on investment should be a minimum of $28,000. That's a 10-time return. If you go through the course and you don't think that you get a $28,000 return from the time that you spend with me, all you got to do is send me an email, and I will refund all of your money 100%, no questions asked, smile, shake hands, no problem. Okay. Because I want to make sure that you get tremendous value. Okay. All right. Now, again, you can go to constructiongenius.com/shift sign up. You got to do it by March 25th at 5:00. Okay. Because you need to do a little bit of pre-work before the sessions start in April. So if you have people outside of who haven't come to the webinar that you think would like to come, you need to get with them, talk with them, make sure that you get them bought in, because we need to have people signed up by March 25th. Okay. All right. You guys have been patient with me. You've really participated. Give me some questions here. Anyone have any questions that I can answer at the moment? Kim has a question. Is there a reduction for sending multiple people? That's a great question, Kim. Do me a favor. Shoot me an email and we can have a little exchange on that. Okay. Yeah. Please shoot me an email. Is that okay, Kim? Raise your hand if you can hear me there, Kim. Great. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Shoot me an email. Rana, great seminar. Thank you. will you be running this program after April? Yes, I will, Robert. I'll be running it again, but I will not be running it probably until the end of the year. So if you need to get in, I would encourage you to get in. Andrew, you're welcome. Erica, you're welcome. Okay, now let's get to work here. Your time is valuable. I want you to get an ROI. Just chat into the box for me the one thing you're going to do as a result of what you've learned here today. I know folks are jumping off. They're going to their jobs, but tell me the one thing that you want to do as a result of what you've learned. Jasper, you're welcome. Anita, you're welcome too. Thank you for participating. Bill, focus on time blocking. Yeah, time blocks. Dude, you guys are awesome. Recognition. Robert, pre-planning. Dean, yes, that $1 million idea. Get some. Robert, time blocking. Ivan, time blocking. Time blocking. Woo! You guys are awesome. All right, keep this in mind. A good plan violently executed today is far better than a perfect plan tomorrow. Okay, now, you guys have been on the webinar with me, so I'm going to send you the recording of the webinar, and I'm going to edit it up as well. So it's going to be tremendous. You can share that with other people. I will also send you, if you typed in yes into the box earlier, I'll send you that emerging leaders report. Keep in mind, you can go to the page, constructiongenius.com/shift sign up. You can go regular or premium, and you got 100% money back guarantee. You've got until March 25th to sign people up. Limited seating, 33 for this particular session. So make sure you get in if it's something that you would like to do. I want to say thank you. You guys have really participated here today. It's been my privilege to be able to spend time with you. I'm committed to your success. Any questions that you have from today that you would like to ask me, please feel free to shoot me an email. As many of you know, I have a podcast that you can always check out, Construction Genius. And again, you guys have been awesome. Last time here, raise your hand if you got some value here today. Just raise your hand in the chat box if you got some value. Troy, great. Daniel, good. Michelle, good. Dean, excellent. Carl, beautiful. Michelle, excellent. Good stuff. All right, guys. Get off into your day. Have a great day. I'll get that recording out to you. And again, thank you so much for joining me today.